Hello, campaigners, and welcome to the Campaign Rundown Podcast. I am one of the co hosts, John Bose, and this is a podcast about all things election campaigns. Today, I am coming at you with a tip about the GOTV basics. We're going to take a look at the Get Out the Vote effort that election campaigns do in the last 30 days of the election. There's a lot more material for this, so please check out the other things in the show notes to see other tips that could help you set up coding and the other processes that are involved. But this is a high level overview of the basics of getting out the vote, making sure that all the hard work you did in this campaign pays off in the last 30 days. Let's take a look. The core of the Get Out the Vote effort, or GOTV, is the voter database the campaign has been building out in the outreach cycle. This voter database includes a universe of voters that the campaign predicts will actually vote on election day. That universe is built out in the define cycle. What we've been doing for the entire outreach cycle is targeting everyone in that universe and trying to identify them as supporters or detractors using the 1 through 5 GOTV scale, with 1 being a supporter, 5 being a detractor, 3 represents undecided. Once the campaign has done all the data entry for identified voters and that information is in the main voter database, the data team has 5 days to do calculations to determine if the campaign will be successful. These calculations are based off of the information collected by the campaign on supporters and detractors, plus data modeling of anyone that hasn't been contacted from the campaign but is in the universe to determine which group they fit into. The goal is to reach the win number, which is the number of votes it will take to win the election on election day based on the universe the campaign has built out of people who probably will vote on election day. If the campaign does achieve the win number, meaning it has +1 to the number of votes needed to win, the data team will build a ID list, which will be the core focus of the campaign for the next 30 days. In addition, the campaign itself will run into the run silent mode, where they will focus on only the people on the ID list. On the other hand, if the campaign has not achieved the win number, the data team will build out a target list, will be made up of individuals that will most likely support the campaign, and the campaign will focus for the next 2 weeks on making sure those people are identified and are supporting the campaign. This is the 2 weeks to win it version. Regardless of what version you are in, the campaign will switch into Get Out the Vote effort starting 2 weeks before election. The GOTV process starts 30 days before the election. In that 30-day window, the campaign will reach out to every single identified supporter and remind them to vote. Now, it is important to make sure that that list has been created and locked, meaning nobody can be added to it before you start the GOTV process. That's why the list lock day is 35 days before the election. When you are building out that list, you're going to announce to your supporters, volunteers, and thought leaders that the list is about to close. Good idea to do that 40 days before the election. Give people 5 days to get all their final IDs and one last push. The run silent mode is when a campaign has achieved its win number and switches from voter identification to only focusing on the supporters the campaign has identified. The reason for this is the campaign does not want to risk reminding anyone who is supporting the opposition to vote on election day. All efforts are focused in the last 30 days on making sure that the supporter base that has been identified that appears on the voter ID list knows where it's voting, knows when it's voting, and has a plan to do so. 2 weeks to win it is when a campaign has not achieved its win number at the 30-day mark. In the next 2 weeks, the campaign needs to focus all resources and spend as much money as possible going after people they have not made any contact with and convincing them to get on board. Another good strategy is to go after the people you have made contact with but identified as 3s, meaning undecided, and get them on board with the campaign. In 2 weeks, you need to make sure you've contacted every single one of these people and tried to get them on board with your campaign. When that 2 weeks is up, you need to stop talking to everyone and switch into the run silent mode.